Imagine the one person you walk past every night, the one with the broom and the quiet smile, knowing the one spreadsheet error that will topple a company. What would you do if the person you ignored could have saved millions? Stay for this. The building ate light like a vault. On the 23rd floor, glass and chrome reflected ambitions. In the basement, fluorescent tubes hummed over ceramic tiles. They called the firm Titan Capital, and Titan ran on numbers so clean they looked like religion. Analysts in tailored jackets spoke in acronyms: KPI, runway, margin. They paid consultants to choreograph the future. Outside of those polished meetings, after the elevator stopped, a man named Marco pushed a mop cart down the corridor, leaving tiny crescents of foam like punctuation marks behind him. He wasn't invisible. He was just not on anyone's org chart. Marco had been an accounting student once, decades ago, before life rerouted him. He carried more notebooks than garbage bags and a habit of folding discarded spreadsheets into neat piles on his cart. One night, while clearing the audit team's after-hours detritus, he noticed something that didn't sit right. A pattern of numbers repeated across multiple files, an odd rounding shortcut, phantom accruals that leaned on month-end trickery, a small line item moved from cash to contingent liabilities. To a janitor, it looked like a mistake. To a mind that had once read balance sheets for homework, it looked like a leak that he folded the sheets, scribbled notes in the margins, and the next morning pushed the cart up to the accounting floor just as someone dropped their coffee in their arrogance. Marco found the junior accountant who used to talk to him about football and slid the notes across the desk without a sound. "Take it to your manager," he said. The kid laughed, patted his shoulder like you'd pat a dog, and put the paper in the pile of other things that would be proof of how busy his life was. Word traveled the way office gossip always does, quickly and incompletely. Marco, who had no ambition to climb a corporate ladder that had stepped on his family once, kept observing. He learned the rhythm of the numbers, end-of-quarter magic, a recurring vendor that never sent invoices, a reconciliation that shortened every month by a tidy sum. He tapped a pen where others saw trash. He didn't go running to the CEO with a dramatic expose. He knew better than that. He knew presentations could bury truth in charts and jargon. He simply kept notes and kept watching. When the quarterly call came, the CEO gave a spiel about optimizing synergies and value creation. The board clapped. Marco hovered in the wings as the cleansers of the stage cleaned up coffee and crumbs. After the applause, he asked for 5 minutes with the head of internal audit. The receptionist smiled indulgently. "We don't take recommendations from the janitorial team," she said, like a policy and a punchline. Marco smiled back, which is its own kind of answer. He left. He could have walked away. Maybe that would have been the safest bet. File the anomaly under things I've seen and go home. Instead, he turned his quiet observation into work. He printed a single dossier, clean, annotated, dated, and sent it anonymously to an investigative journalist he'd once overheard on the subway. He didn't want recognition. He wanted the system to fix itself before kids lost jobs, because numbers were massaged to prop evaluation. The story ran 2 weeks later. Headline: Accounting Shortcut or Sophisticated Scheme. Titan's numbers under scrutiny. The stock dipped like a heart rate monitor flatlining. Regulators opened inquiries. Reporters trawled through annual reports. Titan's PR moved from polish to panic. The consultants who once sold confidence were suddenly selling apologies. The firm that had taught its employees to admire spreadsheets, as if they were gospel, found that the gospel had footnotes. What Marco did next was as deliberate as his silence had been. He didn't cash in on chaos. He built on clarity. He started a small consultancy, one man at first, offering forensic accounting workshops to small firms that could never afford the fancy audits. He taught cleaners to spot patterns, receptionists to flag odd invoices, people who saw different parts of the machine and could stitch them together. He made his business around resilience and transparency, not exploitation. Slowly, clients arrived, nonprofits, family businesses, even a regional bank that needed to rebuild trust. Weeks later, a few former Titan executives showed up at a public hearing and tried to pin blame on process gaps, on miscommunication, on the complexities of modern finance. Marco attended. He sat in the back, hands folded, watching a world that had once ignored him argue about procedures that should have prevented the collapse. No dramati crivid, no bloating. He listened to apologies that read like templates and to regret that sounded outsourced. On the subway home, someone asked him, "Did you ever think you'd build this?" He looked at his calloused hands and the little notebook full of neat columns and said, "I thought I'd clean floors. Then I learned to read the story written in them." It was a small answer to a big question. His business grew because people needed a different kind of audit, one that respected the human perspective and the marginal voices. The moral is simple and sharp. Intelligence and value aren't job titles, they're habits. The person off the org chart can hold the architecture of truth in a folded sheet. Overlooking people because of their role is a liability, not a strategy. Respect is a governance policy that compounds better than any short-term margin.